Hey gang, welcome back to Stud Pack 2. If you've been following along with us on our main channel, Stud Pack, you know that we just refloored the entire first floor here with this beautiful flooring. It looks great. Also got all the walls painted and it's a lot brighter, a lot lighter. Absolutely love it. But what Summer doesn't love is the mantle. She was never in love with it, but now with the lighter colors, she really doesn't like it. I don't know how well it's coming across the camera. This is actually like a dark gray. Doesn't go well with the decor at all. So we picked up a 1x12 radiata pine board, 16 feet long, 80 bucks. So welcome back to Dad's Furniture Shop, where we turn this into this. Let's get started. All right, we got our 16-foot board rough cut. Now these aren't the final lengths. We always cut them a little longer. Much easier to dial in the final length on a board this length rather than a 16-footer. And we're gonna rip them and just cut everything to length after we're all done with that. Now the design of this mantle is gonna be like a floating shelf. So this will be the top and bottom, and we'll get the front and our two sides out of this guy. All right guys, we have a ton of projects going on. It's been a few days since we brought our wood inside after we cut it, but check out what happened. It cupped, it acclimated, and it cupped pretty bad. Really typical of 1x lumber, especially on a 1x12 like this. So I've got a really cool way to show you how we're going to flatten it, because for our mantle, the top and the bottom need to be perfectly flat. We don't want it cupped like that. It's got to be flat. I'm going to show you how to do it. So how are we going to get that bow out? Well, there's a couple of options. We could build an internal framework in our mantle and then attach this to the framework. See, I can push that down with my hand, and then we could rely on fasteners to pull that down. But that's a lot of work. There's actually an easier way. Let me show you. So I pretty much split the board into thirds, and I made a kerf there and a kerf there. What's a kerf? Well, that's a kerf. It's a cut made by a saw blade, right? And we made that one so it didn't go all the way through. Now watch what happens when I push down on the edges. So easy to make it flat. And I know it's flat because our tabletop is flat, right? And all that's gonna get hidden by the end of our mantle. And if I were to put enough of those in there, I could make that board wrap around a radius just like that. Now there's also a right way and a wrong way to send this cup board through the table saw to make that curve. If I were to send it through in this direction with the cup up, I don't have any control on the thickness of my curve because of this gap between the table and the bottom of the cup board. But if I send it through this way, now this edge of the board is flat on the table. It's raised up over here. I don't care about that. And we got our feather boards to hold it down tight right here. Absolutely love these things. Picked them up probably a year ago. Definitely will put a link below in the description. Fire up the saw, make 2 more curves. All right guys, our very next step is to rip off the edges, make this 1x12 the final width, but I don't want to send it through the saw like it is because now this edge won't be square to these edges because of the bend. I need to run it through there while it's flat. How am I going to flatten a warp board? We have some scrap 1x here, like a little cleat, and we're going to screw it here and then put a screw over there, and watch what happens. It's gonna pull that board down flat, and then I can run it through the saw. I got 3 of them on here. Well, they're not on there yet, but they're gonna be. Looks like a little shutter. I need a 1 1/4 inch screw. No longer, no shorter. We don't have any, we're gonna run to the store. We got our screws, just gonna use 1 1/4 pocket screws. I like them because they have a nice big washer pan head on them. They're gonna hold really well. Now, it's actually a couple days later, and we used a couple of days to put these under some clamps. And they actually turned out a lot flatter. Check that out. But we're still gonna put a cleat on them anyway and squeeze them together just like that so they stay flat. But before we put the cleats on and start building the mantle, I think I wanna go inside and remove the old mantle first. So we're not sure how they attach the mantle, but it is kind of wobbly, and our rare earth magnet is telling me that they've got either a nail, there's one, or a screw through the top into probably a ledger that's attached to the brick. But I think Brad and I are gonna just try to pull it off. I don't know how strong it is. See if it's stronger than we are, bud. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go straight up. Oh, yeah. Piece of crown.
Oh wow.
Right up. There we go. The old wooden nailer laid with the brick. That'll be great for us. We can just bolt our new ledger right into there. That's cool.
Right on.
We got our old mantle down, not too big of a problem at all, but let's take some measurements for our new mantle. The fireplace is just over 63 wide. So Summer wants the new mantle to be 54 inches wide, which is about what the old one was. As far as the height, we're gonna go 7 inches tall right there, and we're gonna go 10 3/4 inches deep. Notice the discoloration in the brick right here. Obviously, that's from 30 years of having fires in the fireplace. Really didn't notice it before, but with the mantle down, you really notice it. We're not gonna try to clean it. We're not gonna try to paint it, but the new mantle is gonna go right there and it's gonna blend in just like you see it now. We never noticed it before. You'll never notice it after. Let's go outside. Now that we have our dimensions, start building a mantle. So we're gonna start our mantle by cutting the cleat that attaches to those 2 blocks that they laid in the brick. Our mantle's 7 inches thick. We're using 3/4 material, so our cleat needs to be 5.5 inches tall. I got my saw stop set up. We already cleaned up this one edge of this 2x12. This was a shelf from the garage. Let's make our second cut. All set for our cleat. I got the center of the cleat marked here, the center of the brick. I just got to line those up. You can see we got our laser set up. I'm going to line the top with the laser, align my center marks, and Summer's going to fasten it to the blocks in the brick. Dang.
Nice.
That's it?
I think that's all we need. Okay. I want to put a couple in the brick to pull the bottom down. If you remember the old mantles doing this, we don't want that to happen. So we'll put a couple of tap cons in the brick.
I think there's one right there.
Yeah, a little baby one. All right, I mentioned we were going to fasten the bottom of our ledger to the brick with a tap con. I don't have any, so here's kind of an old school trick that I can do, and I don't have to remove the ledger from the wall. I'm going to use these plastic anchors. Let me show you how I get them in there. These require a 5/16 diameter hole, so I got a 5/16 bit in my drill. First step is to drill through the ledger. Next step, 5/16 masonry bit through that same hole into our brick. The reason I'm not using the Milwaukee with the hammer function is because I don't own any masonry bits that are straight shanked. All of mine are SDS. All the holes are drilled. Now I just got to drive my anchor through the wood into the brick. Once I get flush like that, I'm just going to use a line-up punch and drive it into the masonry. Boom. All right, so here's the real part of this trick. Obviously, the head of that screw is too small. It's going to go into that hole we drilled. So just simply put a washer on there. I'm in the anchor. Love it. All right, guys, before we continue building our mantle, we got to think about getting power here, because remember, we're going to have a receptacle in here to power up the lights for Christmas and everything else Summer's going to want to do on the mantle. So we got to get a cable in here. All the receptacles in here are on circuit 7B. It's a 15 amp circuit, so we're going to bring a run of 14.2 in here. I'm simply going to drill through our ledger, drill through that wood block into the void behind this brick. How do I know it's a void? We have a metal insert fireplace with a metal round chimney going up to the roof. We're going to show you that. And all this behind here is just a complete empty void. Come on outside. We can show you how they did it. They just boxed it all out. There's nothing there. Perfect to run a cable. Let's go inside and drill that hole. Hey guys, quick pause in our project today to tell you about the sponsor of our video, Drio. Drio sent us this awesome 2-in-1 tower heater fan. Keeps you cool when you're warm, warm when you're cool. 2 appliances in one, you gotta love that. And you gotta love that it's tool-free assembly. The base comes in 2 halves. Just snap them together around the cord, put it on your fan, lock it, and you're done. And of course it comes with a quick start guide and a remote for easy operation. Let's take it for a test drive. Now this is the Drio Multi-Comfort Series MC706. We're gonna check out the fan mode right now. We got it on speed 12. It's the highest setting, and this particular fan has 29.2 feet per second, the highest fan speed of all the Drio fans. Check this out. Whoa, look at all the buttons. If you want it to oscillate, you have your choice, 90, 120, 30, or 60 degrees. If you don't like the sound of the buttons, you can mute them, and of course, you can always set a timer. Listen how quiet it is. Let's check out the heat mode. You're gonna hold this button for 3 seconds. What? It even counts down. Boom, we're in heat mode. That's heat 5, the highest setting. That is already getting warm. That's insane. But even cooler than that, if I just press that and go to eco mode, I can change the temperature and dial it in exactly to what I want.
And look, I can see you in there, Paul. It's total fisheye.
Oh yeah, look at that. What's up?
What's up?
So if you're looking for a fan to keep you cool, looking for a fan to keep you warm, check out the Dreo MC706. Use the link in the description below and grab the code on the screen. You'll get a discount at checkout. Thanks so much to Dreo for sponsoring our video. Let's get back to work. But first, I gotta cool off. All right, guys, just broke for lunch. Got a little dessert, caramel lollipop from C's Candy. To all our viewers in SoCal, you know what that is. But check this out. I'm hitting drywall. See that? So wood framed house, they drywalled the whole wall around the metal insert fireplace, and the brick was just added later, just a facade like we mentioned earlier. They even bricked right over the crown molding. Finished carpenter installed the crown molding first, all the way around the room, and then they decided to brick, so they just bricked over it. Just something else we got to fix. We got it on this side and the other side. So now I'm going to drill through the drywall. Well, I'm not going to drill through it. I don't have a drill bit long enough on site. So I just got my paddle mixer. I'm simply just going to drive that through the drywall. You know what, Rhett? I bet I could just punch through it. You want to go upstairs and we'll check it out?
Oh yeah,
All
okay,
right.
I'll be right back.
All right. All right, that did not work. So I cobbled together a very long drill bit, 1/2-inch spade bit, and 2 extensions from the socket set that I always carry in my truck. Here we go. Definitely wood. So I think there's a header across here. Okay, bud, I'm through. Why don't you go up there and see if you see that drill bit?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, guys, we got drilled through that header. Even got my bit out without losing it in the wall. So our next step is to pull the wire. I bent a loop in the ground on my 14-2. They got a glow rod or a push stick. Got a hook on it out of some number 12. So this is gonna go through here. Brad's gonna go in the attic, hook it, and pull it up.
Yeah. Nice job.
All right, wires all ran. We got a big coil in the attic to tie into circuit 7B. Plenty of room down here to tie into our receptacle. And we're not gonna put a receptacle like we did in the remodel, a rectangular duplex. Got a really special one we're gonna show you. It'll be here tomorrow, but make sure you stay tuned for the video. And we're gonna show you what kind of receptacle we're putting up here. It's gonna look cool in the top of that mantle. That's all done. Let's head outside and actually start building the mantle. All right, we've got the top and bottom rip, and these are the two with the kerfs in it because they had a cup in them, and the kerf let the board relax, and the cleat's gonna keep it flat. Now this is the board in my left hand we're gonna use for the side. It's got a pretty bad cup in it also. We can't kerf it because you're gonna see the kerf in the finished product. This kerf will be hidden. But this is kind of a DIY friendly way how to flatten a board. But since we have the planer and it's all set up right behind Rad, it's the perfect job for this, and we're gonna send this board through. And I'm gonna send it through with the cup down like that. So the board's gonna ride here and here. If I were to flip it over, the cup up, it's gonna rock. Way safer and a much better finished product to run it through that way. Hit that switch, Rad. Let's flatten the board. All right, everything's ripped, cut to length, kind of pre-sanded, and now it's finally time to get back to those cleats and that pesky screw we talked about like 10 minutes ago. We need 6 cleats. We're just going to use this offcut. I got my saw marked for my length. Here we go. Let's move that piece of metal. All right, kind of looks like we're building shutters, but just as a reminder, because it was so long ago, we put a kerf in the top and the bottom of our mantle because the board had a cup in it. And now the kerf allows us to move that board and keep it flat. And we're going to keep it flat with these cleats. We're going to glue them and screw them down, and these will remain flat for however long that mantle is on the fireplace. But first, a little pre-drill so we don't split the cleat. We're basically making our 5-sided box for the mantle. There are a lot of ways to connect all this wood together. Biscuits, finish nailer, but Santa brought me a brand new Grex pin nailer. I got 2-inch pins in here. Along with the pins and the glue, this is gonna be really strong. Basically building a 5-sided box beam, right? All right, final piece.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Moment of truth. There's a cool shot of what it looks like on the inside. See if it fits. So far, so good. Ooh, I like that sound.
Nice.
All right, guys, our plug has arrived. There it is. It's called a sill light. Originally designed to go in a windowsill, but these are great for many applications, perfect for our mantle. It's tamper resistant. It doesn't require a junction box because it has its own enclosure right there in the bag. We'll show you how that works together. So it takes a 1 3/4 inch hole. I've got a hole saw ready to go. And we're gonna drill our hole 2 inches from the back because we don't want our plug to crash into our ledger. We're gonna put ours over on the right instead of in the middle, but you can put it anywhere you want on your mantle. Got my drill ready to go. Let's drill a hole for our sill light. All right, guys, got our hole drilled. So we're gonna fish this through that hole and wire it up after the mantle's in place. So how are we gonna hang it? Simply gonna glue it and nail it. Got some PL3, little bead across the top, little bead across the bottom, and I got my 15 gauge gun ready to go. You got the wire, Summer?
Oh yeah.
Here. All right, what do you think? Excited?
So excited.
All right, you hold that, and I'll measure side to side. Perfect.
Nice.
Actually, it's not. I got it back.
What is it?
4 3/4.
Should be 4 3/4. Come back a little.
Oh,
Yeah.
pretty good.
All right, we're level.
Level.
So stay.
Perfect. All right.
That's it. It's a wire per receptacle. All wired up. Pretty short wires, but got to make sure your sheathing is right there so the strain relief captures it. I've got that side of the shell on there. Just going to put this lip right there. All secured and has 2 spots here for a flathead screw. They actually go in at an angle, and that secures it to our mantle. All right, last screw. There we go. Look how nice that looks. And this cap goes on there. Boom. To protect it, even got a slot so you can pry it out later.
Wow.
Paint it to match or don't paint it to match. We're gonna leave it like that. All that's left is for Summer to put some poly on here. We thought it would be easier for her to do it while it's on the wall. She can just tape off the brick, poly it without flipping it. Speaking of Summer, where is she? I thought Summer would be all excited about her new mantle. Where is she? You know, right? I smell smoke, man. Oh gosh, she's got a bonfire going.
Good. It's cold.
It's a perfect night for one. What are you burning?
I found this old wood lying around.
Yeah? Well, it kind of looks like the old mantle to me. You hated it that much?
I did.
Well, this feels great.
I'm happy to see it burn.
I know you are. I'm happy to see the new one installed and electrified. Guys, thanks so much for watching our video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, put some curves in your like button, flatten it, then smash it for us. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber to our channel already. Don't forget to check us out on our main channel on YouTube, Stud Pack. Drop a comment, ask a question, and we'll see you right back here on our very next Stud Pack 2 video. So I basically spit.